And now we're on to the last bit of the first coat. We'll just turn this around. So the oval brush just gets into all the way, nooks and crannies, far better than a flat brush. So I would always recommend an oval for chalk painting. As I said, if you want some texture, you can just dab and create texture and definition. If there's any difficult places to reach. And don't use too much paint on your brush. And if you need, remember, if you need a little tiny bit of water, just dip your brush in water. And that thins out your paint. Now that is one coat. That is one coat done, completed. So that is one coat on, and then now I let that all fully dry. So now this first coat has dried, there are some wee places like here where I can see the wood coming through where I need to do a second coat, and but most of it has had only one coat, and that's all it needs. So I will just add another little, remember very little on my brush, and I will go in here. So it's really anywhere where I can see the wood grain coming through, which was there, a wee bit there. And then I'm going to show you what to do, or why we left some paint out. Remember, at the start of the tutorial, I put some paint out on the lid. And I think just another little bit here. But that really is one coat, and the majority of the paste has full coverage. So isn't that just an amazing paint that saves you time? Save you time, and time is money. So I really do love this paint. So you want to come in for a close-up. This is the lid, and this is the paint that I left out a few hours ago. So I'm just going to bring you right in because I'm going to create some texture with this. This paint has now thickened up. I'm going to create some texture around the corners just by the stippling method. Because that will create a raised texture, and when the wax grips onto it, it will add a nice feature and dimension to this otherwise very flat surface. I'm just stippling the thicker paint on. With my brush, and I hope you can see, hope the camera is picking up the lovely texture that I am creating just with my brush and the paint, the thicker paint off the lid. So now that the paste is dry, we're going to wax it. And this is where you can use the two waxes, the clear and the dark, to create a stormy, moody, atmospheric look on this piece, even though it's only painted with one colour. So first of all, we're going to put the clear wax on, and how you clear wax, to put clear wax on, you have a lint-free cloth. So recycle all your old t-shirts, bed sheets, and you wax on and take the excess off with a rag. You can use a brush to wax. You can also just use a rag, put a rag in and rub it on. The key thing is to remove the excess. So the chalk paint absorbs the wax, but it will only absorb a certain amount. And when the absorption level is full up, the excess will be white and sit on top of your piece. You don't want that. So that's why it's important to work in sections. Put the wax on and then rub the excess off after a couple of minutes. So I'm just working this in a circular motion, making sure I get into all the grooves. And the wax changes the property. You'll think the colour changes, it will deepen it. And this is the beauty of chalk paint. I'm putting the wax on, and then I'm just going to take a cloth that used to be a t-shirt, and I'm just taking the excess off, because the excess will just sit on top of the piece and it'll just be white. You don't want that. So I'm working it into that lovely texture that we created with our thicker paint. Now we left out to thicken at the start of the tutorial. So while the clear wax is still wet, or tacky, I'm going to come in with the black wax. So basically what I'm doing is shading. I'm using black wax to shade instead of using two colours of paint. And remember, so the good thing about wax is clear wax removes coloured wax. put too much black wax on in places, just go back in with your clear wax and it will remove the black wax. I always recommend you use your clear wax first because then you have control of the effect, you have control of the amount of black wax. So you can also use a cloth. So take your cloth in, a little bit of wax, and rub it in on top of your clear wax. If you go first with your black wax, the paint will absorb the black pigments of the black wax, and you lose the ability to control how much black you want, because the paint has actually taken on the properties of the black wax. So I'm rubbing the black wax now into this texture that we created here in the corner. Come in. So that we created here in the corner with our thicker paint. So if you can see, it's picking up all that lovely texture. Now I'm going to just remove the excess. I want some black wax in there, for sure. I want some black wax across there. And now I'm going to remove the excess with some more clear wax. And I'm going to use clear wax and I'm just rubbing out where I want to remove the black. So I want this to look aged and faded. So I'm doing that by putting on the clear, putting on the black, and then coming in with some more clear and buffing it out, smoothing it out up into the piece. So as you can see, it's very effective in creating definition and interest. If you could come close and see. So here you can see the black wax has gripped all that lovely texture that we created with the paint. I'm coming in with a little bit of clear wax here because there's a definite line, and I want to remove that line and make it more natural looking. So I'm going to come in here with my clear wax. I'm just putting little bits of clear wax onto my cloth and smoothing out the black wax. So as you can see, it looks very natural. And it's gripping all of that lovely texture here that we created with the thicker paint, and now you can see the definition. So I will just continue to clear wax and then black wax and then clear wax, blending them in as I go, grabbing the texture and giving this piece a little bit of artistic flair. So this is definitely where the Annie Sloan surpasses the other brands, because you can use the waxes as a form of paint, as shading. If you put too much black on, you just come in with the clear and remove it or buff it out. And here is where we sanded it smooth. Okay, and that is pretty much how you create depth and texture and atmosphere and interest with one colour and 2 waxes. So I will just continue on down the piece. I will do clear wax, then I will do black wax. I will add black wax into pieces, and I will remove with clear wax. I really just want this piece to look aged, even though it is aged. It is from the 1900s. You know, we want it to look at its hard life. And I think that is super. I like how the wax has gripped onto all that texture we created. With the different brush strokes, with the thick paint. See, let's go across the back. And then you can just add or remove as you go. So also, if you feel that if you don't feel happy with the piece, because it is anti-stone wax, you can paint over the top of it with anti-stone paint. So if you mess up, you just get some more of your green, paint over it, let it dry, and wax it again. That is. Again, getting close. So you can see the lovely effect that has. You can even add colour into the wax. So you can add a bit of that green into the wax, you can make your own coloured wax. There's so many things you can do with it. Now put it on, wipe the excess off. While it's still tacky, you take some black. So you can see we're just removing this. Now you can see the clear wax takes the back wax off. So it's entirely up to you how much you want to do. I like quite a lot of black wax on my piece. I like it to be atmospheric. So you can see alright, so I'm going to take a little bit of clear wax. A bit of clear wax. Then I have removed clear wax. So there are many, many, many different types of finishes. So you check your eye again. I'll get some black wax on. Now this is our final and with our black. going to take that little piece off. Okay, so now I'm just going to take this last bit. Piece. Keisha?
Yeah.
Come here. So to recap, we used a degreaser and we cleaned it. Then we rinsed the degreaser off. Then we washed it, rinsed it. Oh, then we scuff sanded it. Then we wiped off all the dust. Then we gave it one coat of chalk paint, and then the second coat was just where we hadn't enough paint, where we could see some of the wood coming through. This piece here is the piece that I sanded. It is super smooth to touch. The rest of the piece, as you can see, is all textured. So then we covered the whole piece in clear wax, and we added definition and shadows with black wax, and we worked in sections until the whole piece was covered. I haven't done this bottom bit yet. because I might do something else with that. But for now, this piece is finished. I'm going to let all this wax dry. It's still very sticky to the touch. I will let it all dry, and then I will decide if it needs any more black wax in places, if it needs paint in places. Remember, this is Annie Sloan wax. You can paint straight over with Annie Sloan paint. So I will decide then when it's dry if it needs anything else. But for now, that's your tutorial of how to paint with Annie Sloan. Annie Sloan, move back a bit. Can't even see what I'm talking. Just pull the whole thing back. The two hands will probably be, that's it. So that's your tutorial. Remember, my name is Helena. I'm from Gate Design, and this was a beginner's guide of how to paint with Annie Sloan chalk paint. This piece now looks as if it's had multiple colours of paint, different tones of paint, but it's just one colour olive with the two waxes, the clear wax and the black wax. Now remember that your preparation is key. Your finish is only as good as your preparation. Preparation is key. And the other thing to remember is that clear wax first, and then the dark wax, and then the clear wax removes dark wax. If you make a mistake or you think there's too much, go back in with your clear wax. If the clear wax, if it's dry, maybe too much, then paint over it with Annie Sloan chalk paint. You can also mix your chalk paint with your clear wax to make a coloured wax. So I could do that with the olive and put some here on the top to make that sort of stand out a wee bit. But I'm going to let this dry now, and then I'm going to buff it. Annie Sloan wax buffs to a dull sheen, not a shine, a sheen. So when it's dry, then I will come back and I will buff the whole thing. And thank you for watching my tutorial. So you can see alright, so I'm going to take a little bit of clear wax. A bit of clear wax. Then I have removed clear wax. So there are many, many, many different types of finishes. So you check your rag again. I'll put some black wax on. I'm just going to take a little bit of white wax. I'm going to put it onto the rag. So you can see all the lovely shading. Detail on the door. And this is what we want. So you can see the lovely emphasis it gives to the door. Just all the different dimensions. Oh, a little bit of wax can give. Right, it is looking really, really good. Now you can go back in, put more on, take more off, work away with your clear and your black. Now that's looking phenomenal. Now remember, this is just one colour of paint, and the different waxes is just really giving it a beautiful effect. Right, I think that looks superb.